My name is Gil. I'm from North Hollywood. They used to call me Stranger from North Hollywood, boys, man. North Hollywood, for anybody here in the city of LA, it's on the 170 between the 101 and the 5. For people who are out of town, it's the Circus Liquor, man. You see that in all kind of movies, that famous Circus Liquor, or the North Hollywood shooting, man. It's like 1 mile this way and 1 mile that way. Out here in North Hollywood, the original hoods, like here was Clanton. You had Northside 18th Street. You had North Hollywood Locos. Then you go up a little bit, you got Barrio Van Nuys. You've got maybe like Blythe Street. Then you got Canoga Park. Those are like the original ones. I'm sure I missed. Oh, and Pacas, of course, Sanfer. Those are like the original gangs. And my hood came out like where most of the hoods started coming out. Like we started like in '84. But now MS started like around, I would say probably like around 87 out here. Something like that. So after that, yeah, you got MS, you've got Haskell, you got Radford, you got Violent. I mean, you've got just gang after gang after gang out here. It was definitely a very active place back in the 90s. Still is now, but like everywhere else, so the numbers are down. Sanford is by far one of the OG gangs, them and some parts of Pacoima. Let them argue among themselves and say who started first, because I don't know. But yeah, they've been around since at least the 30s, man. I would say some maybe even the 20s. Those are old barrios out here. I was actually born in Honduras, man, Central America. I came here as a kid in '81. I was born in '75. My mom left me there, I think, like around 73, 74. I was a little kid. I don't remember. She came over here to the States illegally. Left me there. I used to call my grandma and grandpa, mom and dad. I finally came here in '81. Me, my brother, and my grandmother. We came out here to North Hollywood. We lived up here off of Oxnard and Lower Canyon. And then by like '84, we started living over here by Willowcrest, which was like the crazy alley where the guys from Clanton were very active and very deep. It's a kind of real famous area out there. By '84, that's the time my hood kind of started. And then after that, I remember when I was about 11 years old, my mom started slanging dope. She was the dope dealer, and I was around the neighborhood all day long, and to me, this was the norm, man.
So your mom was kind of in the streets herself, huh?
No, my mom was gangster, man. My mom came here, and my mom told me that when she came here to try to get us our paperwork to get immigrated into the States, right? That the lady told her, listen, I don't know, I'm not stereotyping your kids, but I would not get welfare. I would not get any assistance because it's gonna be harder for you guys to get them to become citizens. She said, you might get them to get green cards, but you need to make them citizens because the way the politics are going, one day they may get their papers pulled and they're gonna get deported. And thank God she did. So she came out here and she started hustling, man. She was like most of the paisas I know here on my block, my mom used to slang coke to them, dude. She was a neighborhood coke dealer, and I think me and her finally started talking about that maybe like, I don't know, when I turned 18, 19. Before that, it was like, you don't see anything and you don't hear anything. That's how it was. I started going off the back, dude, right here, Oxnard Street Elementary School, man. That's where all the homies from the boys are, all the homies from Clanton. That's our home-based school, man. I went there, then I went to Walter Reed Junior High, and Walter Reed Junior High, that's pretty much when you move into the gang thing. You're in junior high. At 14, I joined my hood, and then I went to high school for maybe 6 months. I kicked out of the LA school district, and that was it. No more school for me. My story is different than everybody else's, Alonso. Is a lot of people will say certain things that, especially with my shit. Oh, homie, you're watering it down. Homie, I'm still in my hood, man. Where you at? You know what I mean? It's like that. I'm still in my hood. Where you at? But instead of banging like I used to before, back in the days, these guys would call me, hey, stranger, I need a strap. Hey, stranger, I need this. I'd be like, I got you, homie. Let's do this. Now they call me, hey, homie. Hey, Gil, I need a job. No problem. I got you, homie. That's the difference. But I'm still here in my hood.
I've always known this is the main street in North Hollywood. Tiara Street.
Tiara Street, yeah, for sure, man.
And also Fulton is also kind of an active street, right?
Fulton was a very active street. Now you got $1 million condos going over there, man.
Right?
Yeah, they knocked on the projects. That's where they killed my homeboy Whisper. That's actually where they filmed that movie Set It Off when they were in the projects, Queen Latifah and them. Those projects that movie was on was at the Victory Projects, man. But those places, that's gone. You go up a mile, 2 miles, you've got an apartment that's gonna cost you $2,500 for one fucking bedroom, brother. Who can afford to live that?
And what did it used to be?
Out here, it probably, when I was out here, it was probably $800, $900 for a one bedroom, $1,300 for a 2-bedroom. Now those 2 bedrooms now are $2,500. It's like a mortgage payment 10 years ago, And this is what's going on. What's going on is we're, as gang members, bringing our own property value down. And while we're sitting here bickering over the street, over the block, the developers are going in there and just fucking pulling houses, pulling apartments, and pulling other projects and selling it and building on it. And what they're doing is they're running us out of our city, but with money. Me personally, I think this block that I'm on, my hood, the one that back in the 90s, Alonso, I was willing to die for this, homie. And it's not even a lie. It's no bullshit. It ain't made up. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not lying. I was ready to kill for this shit, homie. I was ready to do life for this shit. But now, nah, brother, I'm trying to move for my family, and I'm seeing it. This place will be gone. If the trend keeps going, in 20 years, this block's not here anymore. You got a nice school right here. You got a nice park over here. You've got the metro. You've got North Hollywod being built. You've got all kind of projects being built that's going to cater to a different breed. People with more money. It doesn't necessarily be white people, just people with more money. I went to Oxnard Elementary from 2nd grade to about 6th grade. In 6th grade, I got kicked out for giving the teacher the finger. She kicked me out. I ended up going to Fair Avenue, which was kind of cool because when I went to Fair Avenue, those guys were all from Violent, from Boys from the Hood, from Radford, 18th Street. That was pretty much their home base for different gangs. You know, I went there for a bit. I ended up going to Walt Reed Junior High. That's where I got put on in the hood. At Walt Reed Junior High, by 9th grade, too many fights. I got kicked out. I ended up going to Madison Junior High. I think I lasted at Madison Junior High for 30, 45 days. Same thing. Fighting, got kicked out. My mom ended up getting a house out in Lancaster. She said, we're out of here. We did that move in 90, right? We moved to Lancaster, and I want to say I went to high school all of about maybe 30 to 45 days. Same thing, it was all gang-related fights, man. Started fighting, got kicked out, went to a continuation school they had over there. First day on the continuation, same thing, got into a fight, got kicked out, and after that, I went to a meeting to the LA School District, which was like a 12-person panel or something, right? And they, my mom didn't even show up. It was just me and my brother. Since he was 18, I was like 15, 16. And they pretty much told me, Mr. Tejada, you're being kicked out of the whole LA school district. You cannot go to any school in Los Angeles. And they told my brother pretty much either your brother's gonna end up in jail for a long time or he's gonna be dead. And that was it. I stopped going to school when I was 16. But the last grade that I actually got a diploma for was probably 6th grade, man.
What did your mom say or think when you were in the 9th grade and you got put on North Hollywod Boys? Did she know right away?
No, she didn't know right away. I got kicked out of Reed when I went to Madison, right? In Madison, I got into a gang fight. The principal tells her, hey, I'm sitting there, and me, I'm young. My heart's fucking beating. Oh my God, my mom's gonna find out I'm in a gang, right? So they tell her, your son's in a gang, this and that. No problem. We get into the car. I got like 20 homies outside. They're all over there telling me what's up. I go into the car with my mom. We're driving. She still hasn't said anything. We're with my stepdad, and she turns around, she looks at me, and I'm still like, fuck, are you in a gang? And I said, yeah. And she said, good, you got backup. And that was it, man. That was as far as my conversation with my mom as far as being in a gang. That was the gangster mode that my mom was in. And a story like that reminds me a couple years, it's just you progress as a gang member, right? A couple years later, when we ended up going to Lancaster, she would have the place for us, but she would take off for weeks at a time, go slang her dope, and we lived. So we were pretty much raising ourselves. Me, my carnal, a couple homies from Pacas, a couple homies of mine, and we're like the Wild Wild West. She walks into her house one time. I think I was about 15 and a half, 16 years old. And she had her room, but she would just come unannounced because it's her fucking house, right? So we're there. We all have rifles. We all have guns. We're drinking beer. We're cleaning our fucking tools, right? We're cleaning our tools. She walks into the house, and we're like, fuck, my mom caught us with the guns. She looked, good, at least you guys got guns. She goes to the room. That was it, man. That was the relationship I had with my mom. My mom was a gangster, man.
I guess you weren't spending as much time in North Hollywod at that time?
No, I still was, because I had a car. My mom was a dope dealer. I got a car, so I would come down here every weekend, man. This was a magnet to me, man. This was a fucking magnet. I would stay, we would get into arguments, me and my mom, when she's up there, right? And she'll be like, hey, you can't just be coming in and out whenever you want. You can't be doing anything. And she's like, if you don't like the rules, leave it. Leave. And that's exactly what I would do. I'd be like, all right, Mom, I get my shit. I'll leave for 2-3 weeks, come out here, party, bang. Go back in a week, and I'll walk in. She's like, you're hungry now, huh? Something like that. I'll stay home for about 3 or 4 days, and the same fucking conversation. You don't like my rules? Leave. All right, Moms, I'm gone. And I would hop back and forth over here, and then when times even got rough, I'd fucking sleep in cars. I'd sleep in closets, whatever it is, just to be here, man. This was everything to me at that point.
And where was your father at during all this time?
My father, the fondest memory I got of my dad, Alonso, is probably being on the side of the fucking street, feces all over him, drunk as fuck, and he was just an alcoholic. And he died when I was, I think, about 9 years old. I never knew too much of it. The first conversation I had was when it happened. My mom walked into the room to me and my brother. She tells me, your dad's dead. Cry if you want. And she walked out, and we didn't talk about it until another 20-some years. It's like having a couple lions. If that big lion's not there to fucking hurt, to fucking get at them, to put them in the right way, these fucking kids are gonna do what they want, man. Because these kids eventually will grow bigger, and they think, you ain't big enough, Mom. You don't scare me, and they end up going astray, man. So no, that definitely had an impact on me and anybody else who doesn't have a father in their life.
So do you have kids?
I've got 2 kids. I got 3 grandkids.
All right. So how did you break the cycle of what kind of father are you with your 2 kids? And
I was called the stricto. I was called the stricto because I want to know where you're at. I want to know whose friend's house you're going to. I'm going to give you a little slack, but at the end, my thing to my kids was always just get the grades, man. Your job, kid, is to bring in grades. I'm not saying straight A's, just get good grades. And after that, you can do whatever you want, dude, because do your hard work while you're young. Once you get older, you can benefit all that fucking work you do, man. So with my kids, especially with my daughter, I don't think I have the bond that I should have because I was coming out of YA in those times, and I got her when she was 8 years old. Her mom ended up catching a case, going to the joint. I get a phone call saying, hey, your daughter's in a hotel room. You need to come pick her up. I'm fresh out. I'm 24 years old. I'm parole, and I'm like, I'm picking up my daughter. So now, when I came out, it's me. It was my girl at my time, which is my wife, my stepson, which is my son now. I raised him since he was 9 years old, and my daughter. And I'm a 24-year guy with 2 kids, a future wife. I'm parole and don't got any job skills, brother. But at that point is where I made that choice. I go back to jail. These kids are fucked, and I didn't want that to happen. So that's why I started doing my thing. I started bagging in '89. I would say by 90, I went to juvenile hall for some bullshit, but never really caught a case. In 91 is when I caught my case. By 91, I think it took me about 2 years to graduate to it, and that's when you graduate to being a gang member and a gang banger, which is like being I would say the best way to paraphrase that is you're in the Navy and you're a fucking Marine. So I went from that Navy part 2 years later. I was a Marine, and you wouldn't catch me on this block without a gun, man. The gun was just the main equalizer. It doesn't matter how big the motherfucker is. It doesn't matter how big the group is. You got your strap. And I caught my case in October 19th, 1991.
And I guess it's not really like a trial when you're a juvenile.
What's
the court system like?
It's not a trial. It's a trial by judge. And pretty much, it was just whatever the judge's discretion of what he wanted. Because 2 witnesses came. They didn't quite tell, but at the same time, they showed up. And the judge pretty much said it seemed like the witnesses were scared. They didn't really want to tell everything. All they had on me was a little bit of gunpowder on my hand, which I had got shot. And they fucking took the wraps off, and they took the gunpowder. So they had gunpowder on me. They never found the guns. But, yeah, I got found guilty. I did go to Eastlake, but I started at Sylmar Juvenile Hall, and then for whatever reason, I went to Eastlake, and I went to, I think, Padrinos too. I think they were just using it to carry the bus over or whatever.
Now, is there a difference in these institutions, Sylmar, Eastlake, Los Padrinos, or is it all the same?
No, there's difference. There's different gangs. That's the big difference. You're going to a whole different area. Over here, it's all the Valle. Padrinos is, what is it? Is that SGV? I'm not even sure, Padrinos.
That's Downey.
It's down, yeah, down. So it's different valles. So you get different guys from the valle. Other juvenile halls, you get different gang guys. So that's when you start kind of mixing in and realizing, damn, there's different gangs other than the ones that we know. Because at that time, especially in the 90s, dude, to us, it was like, this is our block, this is our area, these are the different hoods. All the other hoods over there, nowadays, you can go on YouTube, type it in, you see somebody else's hood. It's so easy to bring them all in. Back then, no, dude. You didn't know about these hoods. It's kind of like, this is our tribe. We're the only ones doing this. And then once you start going to juvenile hall, and especially when you start going to YA, once I went to YA, I just sucked it all in, dude, and everything came in. When I was at Sylmar, I was 16. I just came in for busting on some cops. I came in for busting on some enemies. Nah, man, I was ready to bang, dude. At that mentality, I was like, let's do this. I was ready just to fucking... I was ready to fight. They ended up taking me to a psychiatrist because I thought at the time, if somebody's your enemy, you got to rush him, you got to do this. And that's the mentality I went in there with. I ended up getting my 8 1/4 years in YA, but to me, it was like, it's a badge of honor, homie. I'm going to YA for the hood. And it wasn't a scary thing once you start going to YA and all that, because you start hearing all the stories about YA and how it is. Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking going over there, and it definitely was for me. That was I think I was 16, about to go to 17 when I hit YA Norwalk. I ended up, the first YA I went to, well, the first one everybody goes to is Norwalk, is the Southern Reception Center. That's where everybody comes, and that's when you kind of start seeing the game, man. You start seeing different guys. The only thing that was where I was in Pico. The difference there that was in most places until you get older. You still had like a black and SA cellies back then until you're 17, 18. Then once you come back and you got to go to a different unit, by the time you turn 18 and 19, that's it, man. It's the racial thing, and that's kind of the age that it kind of starts, believe it or not. What YA was you were picking the meanest and most gangsters fools from every hood. From the Valle, from East LA, from Watts, from South Central, from Santa Barbara. It didn't matter what part of California you're coming from. YA was pretty much like, here's where all the fucking gangbangers that we're gonna teach. Here we go, and that's what it was. You were fighting, you were fucking. We weren't talking. Fools were getting packed. And you get to gamble amongst the other races. So there was fights constantly in that place, man. Whether I knew it or not at the time, it was kind of when it started. Like the gangsters started. I started thinking about it back then because I ran into some guys that were from different sets, but like from I think they were from Lincoln Heights, right? And this would kind of trip me out, and I knew both of them. And then when I told one of the guys, "Hey, let's go over here and talk to homie," like, "Oh, fuck, that's my enemy, fool." Like, what? And I had already talked to both of them without knowing they were enemies. And that's kind of when I started figuring out, damn, dude, wait a minute, you two are cool-ass fucking cats. In those days, the 90s were, if the stock market was the highest. The 80s were gangsters fuck, the 70s were gangsters fuck. They were the foundation of what we got now. And then sometimes when I talk about the 90s, guys from the 80s on my comments would sit there and tell me, dude, get out the 80s, this. And they were. But the thing what we had in the 90s was the numbers, dude. The numbers were astronomical. You had so many gang members, which meant more soldiers, which meant more fights, which meant more shootings. It was kind of nuts.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description, and thanks for watching StreetTV.net.